As someone who has been studying health for years, I've come to realize that the real dangers to our well-being often don't look like threats at all. They're not the greasy fast food or the obvious junk we know to avoid. Sometimes, it's the fruit sitting quietly in our kitchen, the one we've been told for decades is healthy, that becomes the very thing, quietly pushing us towards stroke, instability, and loss of independence. And if there's one fruit that perfectly captures this hidden risk, it's the banana. For most of our lives, bananas have been advertised as nature's perfect food portable, easy to eat, full of potassium, and gentle on the stomach. And sure, for someone young and metabolically active, a banana a day might be harmless or even beneficial. But if you're over 60, especially if you're on medications for blood pressure, heart conditions, or kidney support, that banana might not be doing what you think. In fact, it could be slowly tilting your blood chemistry into a danger zone. Let's start with potassium. Bananas are loaded with it over 450 milligrams in a single large one. That's not inherently bad. The problem is that as we age, our kidneys process potassium less efficiently. The very same fruit that once helped maintain heart rhythm can, in an older body, accumulate potassium to risky levels. Add in a common blood pressure medication like an ACE inhibitor or an E, potassium-sparing diuretic, and now you have a body that can't get rid of excess potassium efficiently. What happens next? Your heartbeat becomes irregular, blood vessels lose their ability to constrict and relax normally, and the blood becomes sluggish, conditions that increase the chance of clot formation, especially in the small vessels leading to the brain. Let me tell you about someone I worked with, Mr. Raymond, 66, a retired carpenter from Ohio. He was in decent shape, took daily walks, and believed in eating clean. Every morning, like clockwork, he made oatmeal, topped with banana slices and chased it down with orange juice. It sounded like a perfect breakfast on paper. What he didn't know was that this combination, banana for potassium, juice for a sugar spike, and blood pressure medication for his hypertension, was altering the way his body processed minerals and blood flow. One morning, his wife found him collapsed, unable to move the left side of his body. He had suffered a mild stroke during the night, triggered by what doctors called silent hyperkalemia, a condition where potassium levels silently spike and affect the heart and brain. Mr. Raymond survived, but his life changed. No more driving, physical therapy every week, and a loss of the independence he had taken for granted. All because of a banana habit that no one had warned him about. And it's not just potassium. Bananas are also rich in natural sugars. That sugar, especially when eaten alone or late in the day, can trigger a cascade of blood sugar spikes followed by insulin crashes. This roller coaster effect inflames blood vessels, causes small tears in the vascular lining, and forces the body to send out clotting agents. In younger bodies, these tiny injuries get repaired quickly. In older adults with stiffened arteries, those clots can stick, grow, and eventually block the delicate vessels feeding the brain. If you're eating a banana as a bedtime snack stop, at night, your body's circulation slows, your blood thickens slightly, and your blood pressure naturally dips. Add in a sudden sugar or potassium spike from a banana, and you create an unstable environment. It's like throwing a match into dry brush. You may not feel anything in the moment, but the damage is being done beneath the surface. So what should you do? If you love bananas, have half in the morning with a handful of almonds or a slice of cheese. The protein and fat will slow down the sugar absorption. Avoid banana smoothies, especially ones mixed with fruit juice or yogurt, which often contain even more sugar. And never pair a banana with blood pressure medications, unless your doctor has specifically advised you to do so. It's not about fear, it's about being strategic. Knowing that your aging body is different, and what worked at 30 doesn't always work at 70. If bananas surprised you, wait until you hear about grapes. These tiny, sweet, easy-to-pop fruits seem harmless, even indulgent. People snack on them mindlessly, while watching TV, reading, or winding down before bed. But grapes, especially red and green seedless varieties, pack a sugar punch that hits fast and hard. In older adults with slower insulin responses or prediabetes, which many people over 60 have, and don't even know, it's not uncommon to see blood. Sugar levels spike dramatically after a handful of grapes. And what does that sugar spike do to your brain? It inflames. It constricts. It wears down the protective lining of your vessels and leads to microtears. Again, your body tries to repair, sending out clotting agents, thickening the blood slightly. Add that to an evening snack habit, and now your blood flow is sluggish at the exact time, when your brain is most vulnerable during sleep. One patient, Mrs. Anita Flores, age 74, from Arizona, loved her evening grapes. She called them her little desserts. For years, she ended her day with a glass of water and a small bowl of grapes. But she also had insulin resistance and mild kidney disease, nothing alarming, just age-related. One morning, she woke up with blurred vision and couldn't remember her daughter's name. At the ER, imaging showed a mild ischemic stroke, and her blood glucose had been swinging wildly overnight. Her grapes, though small and sweet, were not so innocent. But here's where it gets even more concerning. Grapes contain natural compounds like resveratrol and flavonoids, which are often praised for heart health. But when concentrated in grape juice or eaten in large amounts, these compounds can also thin the blood slightly. If you're already taking blood-thinning medications, this combination may push your clotting system too far, leading not to clots, but bleeding, especially in the brain. It's a delicate balance, one that your doctor may not even think to warn you about, because fruit is supposed to be safe, right? And that's the danger. We trust fruit. We're told it's good for us. But age changes the rules. Your kidneys, liver, and blood vessels don't behave the same way they used to. And when you combine healthy habits with medications and slowing organ function, you can easily create a silent threat. Let's talk about dried fruit. People often assume it's just fruit without water. But drying fruit concentrates sugar dramatically. A small handful of raisins contains more sugar than an entire bowl of grapes. Dried banana chips? Don't even get me started. They're often fried, sugar-coated, and preserved with chemicals that irritate the gut and interfere with medication absorption. If you're snacking on dried fruit thinking it's better than cookies, be careful. It's not about calories, it's about what it does inside your body. Spiking sugar, irritating your stomach lining, possibly triggering reflux or interfering with sleep. That's another thing, acid reflux. Some fruits, like pineapple, citrus, and yes, bananas, can relax the lower esophageal sphincter, allowing acid to creep up while you sleep. That acid irritates the throat and sinuses, but more dangerously, it creates systemic inflammation. And in a body already on edge, dehydrated, medicated, older, that inflammation contributes to clot risk. You've probably heard that the body heals during sleep. And it's true, but it also becomes vulnerable during those hours. Blood pressure dips, breathing slows, and the body relies on stable circulation to keep oxygen flowing to the brain. One wrong combination, sugar, potassium, medication, dehydration, and that balance is broken. You may not feel it when it happens. It could be a few weak words, a stumble in the hallway, or just feeling confused when you wake up. But inside, the damage is already underway. So what's the takeaway? Fruit is not bad, but fruit must be respected, especially in an aging body. Know what you're eating. Know when you're eating it. Never eat high-potassium fruits like bananas late at night. Avoid high-sugar fruits like grapes or mangoes. If you're insulin-resistant or on blood thinners, stay away from dried fruit unless you're on a hike and need quick energy. And always pair fruit with something that balances it. A little protein, a little fat, and drink water. Not just any water, add electrolytes if you're on diuretics. A pinch of sea salt or a splash of coconut water can help maintain balance. Monitor for signs of dizziness, sudden fatigue, or blurry vision. Those aren't normal with age, they're warning signs your body is trying to give you. At this stage in life, even small decisions ripple loudly through the body. The way you snack, the time you eat, the foods you trust, they all matter more than ever. Your brain is still sharp, but it needs the right support. Your heart is still strong, but it needs predictable fuel. And your body? after decades of service, deserves your attention. So next time you reach for a banana or a handful of grapes, remember, it's not about fear, it's about wisdom. And wisdom means feeding your brain the future it deserves.